welcome everybody. As we get started, hello Zulima, thank you for joining us. Carter, why don't you kick us off with the David Street Station?
All right. This is, good evening, everybody. It's good to be with you. This is the opportunity that council has to memorialize the relationship with the David Street organization, if you will, as it pertains to contributions the city can make on an in-kind basis in order to help the David Street Station be more sustainable over time. This allows the city to contribute expertise that it already has on hand for work that in a lot of ways we've already been performing. Again, memorialize it so that as personalities change and people come and go, the understanding between the David Street Station organization and the city will remain in place, and the work that we are, that we have the skills and the talents to provide can be done over time. This is the first agreement that we've had with this organization as it relates to these contributions, and so this is a step in a new but I think important direction pertaining to helping David Street be with us over time. And so we have some folks here that can help us walk through a lot of the detail here. Zulima, I assume, would walk us through some of these items. And if you have other questions, we can go from there. So if I can turn time over to Zulima.
That'd be great. Zulima,
Take it from there.
Mayor, councilors, hopefully you can hear me okay. It's nice to join you, even though it's virtual. As Carter mentioned, this is our opportunity to memorialize the work that we have actually been performing on an in-kind basis at David Street Station for much of this season and in fact a lot of last season as well. And so, as you know, we've had a long-standing relationship with what was first the Downtown Development Authority and then David Street Station for the David Street Station Plaza, which serves as a public gathering space in our community. And so we feel like the city has a fairly vested interest in maintaining that asset for public use and benefit. And so we have been extending some of our expertise and staff time to that organization in order to help them with what I would say are the more technical aspects of the facility, including the splash pad, the ice rink when they are able to have one, and then some of the landscape irrigation and door locks. So those are the primary support areas that we have been providing with the expertise that is already present at the city. So between our buildings and structures staff that of course has a significant amount of expertise because of our own city facilities and aquatics amenities, as well as the ice rink, and then our aquatics and parks teams are also very knowledgeable in those areas and can help render support for that function. And so again, we've been providing services to David Street Station for some time, trying to help them through struggles that they've had where they've lacked personnel or expertise to do some of the work themselves. And so this is just a chance to get it all on paper, put it in writing so that we all understand exactly what the expectation is moving forward, what their responsibilities will be, and what assistance we can provide them. So with that, I'm happy to try to answer any questions that you might have.
Carter has something to say real quick, Zulima.
Yeah, just in, Mr. Mayor, councilors, one additional item that I want you to be aware of that I don't think I heard Zulima mention is with respect to the chiller. David Street Station has been working on fundraising for the chiller, and hopefully will be successful in that regard. Part of the agreement would suggest that staff gets to help select a chiller, particularly, hopefully one that we are familiar with and have some background in and those kinds of things. so that over time we can also help as far as maintenance and troubleshooting kinds of things are concerned. But the good news is, if they are successful in fundraising for the chiller, that too will be a significant step towards long-term sustainability as well, in that between not having to pay rent and lease payments every year to have that type of fixture, the city too will be able to help as far as just providing basic maintenance and oversight and troubleshooting. So a real exciting partnership, one that I hope you'll feel good about as we move into formal adoption of this.
Questions from council to Zulema or Carter? Yeah, Michael.
Just more out of curiosity than related to this, but who owns the actual physical structures at Davis Street, like the stage and the building that has the restrooms and offices? Are those owned by the Davis Street LLC or by the Downtown Business Association or DDA?
Mr. Mayor, I may have to punt to Zulema to answer that a little more succinctly, but what brings me to the table with regard to this arrangement and this relationship and so forth is that if indeed the nonprofit organization that oversees the operation and maintenance and so on of the David Street Station were to go defunct and go away, the city of Casper would become the owner of all the facilities that are there, and then enjoy the long-term maintenance and ownership and responsibility of that into the future. And so beyond that, I probably couldn't say how that lays out right now, unless Zulema, you wanted to add more insight to that question.
Zulema, do you have anything?
Mayor, councilors, I would need to verify by reviewing the original documentation again, but I believe the land itself is leased, but all of the items that were constructed as part of the original David Street Station do belong to David Street Station as the owner until such a time they maybe weren't sustainable on their own.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
I would just confirm that is my understanding that the land was leased to the DDA. We did amend it here not too long ago to allow the nonprofit to take over. But should it become defunct, then it would revert back to the city. And so that's where, to the city manager's point, we would have the responsibility.
The questions.
Well, I'm really excited by this. And don't take this wrong, but I don't know who is the intention with all of the labor. I see a $500 cap on supplies, but in particular, if they are successful on the chiller campaign, which I'm very hopeful that they'll get there, just on Freon, if it needs, charged at some point in time and other maintenance. So is that part of what the city would supply as well as the labor around that? But
Mr. Mayor, that's a fair question, Councilor, and I would say that is where the cap comes in. And so any of the major maintenance or the major capital replacements and so on would be the responsibility of the nonprofit.
so a follow up to that. So while I totally appreciate, the in-kind labor and all of that, I think it's very important to the agreement. I would like to see an amendment on the fly to take that 500 to a higher level, whether that's 5,000 or 10,000. I think would be, because a charge on a system that big or major maintenance could run a lot, and they may not be able to sustain that. So what council feels about, I'm just throwing numbers out, but
What does staff think about that suggestion?
Mr. Mayor, councilors, what that means is that should repairs or replacements fall under that limit, whatever that limit would be, it would be the responsibility of the city to cover that. That's right. So wherever that, that level ought to be, just remember that whatever threshold you set, that's the number that the city will be obligated to meet when those kinds of repairs and replacements take place.
Zulima.
Mayor, thank you. I think I would just add that particularly with the chiller, if it is procured new, there will be a warranty period that'll give us, at least a year opportunity to see how the equipment functions, try to gauge what kind of maintenance burden it could create. I think in terms of the $500 limit at this point as written, it is specific to irrigation. And that's because when I talked to my park staff, the irrigation personnel specifically, we buy so many irrigation parts in bulk, it would be a little harder to sort of portion that out specifically to David Street Station. And so we just figured we would cover the cost of those smaller dollar materials for irrigation. But when it does come to items for the splash pad and the chiller system or components of the ice skating rink, those mechanical components are quite expensive, and we know that from our own experience. And so I think from a staff perspective, I would recommend that we monitor the agreement for a period of time, see what kind of maintenance burden there is. Certainly, given the city's buying power and vendor relationships in the community, we could help David Street Station to secure the best pricing. But I would be reluctant to, just blanket say we're willing to give a certain amount until we have a chance to evaluate that for a period of time, see what impacts we're seeing on our own in terms of maintenance and costs, and go from there. But certainly we would, we could increase that price a little bit. I would be reluctant to take it much higher until we have a better idea of what kind of equipment we're going to be getting and what the burden may be.
I would just add to, I think Zulima's suggestion is consistent with kind of the arrangements we have, like with the Nicolason, for example. So the city owns the Nicolason building and property and, does some repairs, but anything over a certain amount or, beyond kind of regular wear and tear and that kind of thing, museum budget has to cover beyond that. So I think that's being pretty consistent, I think. So yeah, I would support Zulima's idea of kind of wait, see long-term, see what it needs long-term. But I'm sure David Street is aware of the organization is aware that there, the potential for maintenance and repairs on the chiller could be a little higher. So $500.
So council's okay with staff recommendation for right now? You're on the fence. No, you're not on the fence. You're no. Okay. Okay. What do you need from us on this?
The agreement approval will be this evening, and so council certainly has the opportunity to entertain amendments, although this is on consent. So if indeed you wanted to bring this up in with the possibility that amendments are imminent, then you probably would want to remove it from consent in order for that to happen. Okay. But if council's fairly resolute that an amendment is not of interest, then you may not need to remove it from consent. It's totally up to you.
Trying to read council. I know it sounds like past are hard wanting to, because everybody else.
I'm happy to just kind of hold on it and monitor the situation before. I'm comfortable with that. I don't disagree with Pat that,
right.
If more support is needed, I'm certainly open to that in the future. That I don't think 500 is, a threshold that I would insist that we stick to. But I'm also okay to just kind of let it ride for now and see how it goes.
Yeah, so I get kind of nods. So it sounds like there's no need to take it off consent.
Very good.
All right, any other discussion on that?
I don't think so. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Housing Authority 1 cent funding.
This is the opportunity that council has to consider a slightly different application with regard to your awardee and their use of 1 cent application, 1 cent funding pertaining to a project that they've been working on for a while and a project that you're familiar with and so forth. And so if I get Liz to come up and walk us through the details of that proposal, I would appreciate it.
Mr. Mayor, Council. With the last 1 cent round, you all 2 years ago had awarded to, and the letter from Kim pretty much identifies it in the memo, but you had made an award for the North Casper School Project, which was at that time under the Food for Thought project, about $48,000. No, you made an award to them for more than that, which then was split off to go to Metro. And that was for fire doors to be put into the North Casper School. On the flip side, you did award to the Housing Authority almost $48,000 to put concrete pads under the portables that are at the Willard School Project. That is no longer a building code requirement. They do want to continue to use those portables, likely for storage. It will not be for activity with the young people there with the Willard School and Vision Center. But what they'd like to do is to take that money from the Willard School project and put it back over now into the North Casper School project for fire doors, which is a code requirement. They are truly, as Kim indicated, really working to develop the former North Casper School into the North Casper eventual grocery store. But part of that has been the kickoff with the urban thistle farm that is there now. In our monthly building division reports, which you'll be getting another one this particular week in the info packet, you begin to see the activity of both of those schools happening by the Casper Housing Authority. The Willard and Vision Center is again getting the remodel on the inside. And again, with North Casper School and the urban thistle farm, we're beginning again to see the transformation of that former school. So it's actually a simple flip-flop if that is of council's desire in order to reallocate this $48,000 towards the fire doors. As Kim has indicated, the fire doors themselves are going to be about $60,000. So this would go towards that full purchase. They would make up the difference and would like to do so if that is council's favor. So our hope tonight again is we prepared the resolution, but we would bring it forward for official approval in 2 weeks at the meeting on the 19th. But if you have questions for me, I am familiar with both of the projects, and I believe also Councilor Gamroth is aware of this. So I know we've done movement before with 1 cent allocations, as you all did with the Food for Thought funding that was reallocated to the Metro project. And so this follows in similar suit.
Any questions, clarifications? Go ahead, Michael.
Liz, are those the portables that were there? The
Yes.
school was, oh, not really. Do you know what they sit on now?
Mr. Mayor, they don't sit on concrete. They
Yeah.
sit on this little wooden structure that's, yeah. And they may not remain there, but for right now,
Sure.
they're helping with storing product as the construction project is going underway. But yes, they are what we all remember having learned in. On nothing ground.
Yeah, I just have had a really bad experience with portables sitting on the ground, and they weren't up at it, and they're smelling like a.
There's a little
swamp.
crawl, there's a little crawl space up there.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes,
that's
there
good.
is.
At least they're off the ground, so.
Remember those at East Junior High with Counselor McIntosh.
Yes. Good times.
Flashbacks,
But
memories.
thank you.
You bet.
Anything else? Is council okay with it? Awesome.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks, Liz.
All right, agenda review. Carter, do you have anything you'd like to go over with us about tonight?
Yeah, just one quick item. Zulima thankfully reminded me that we are not doing the formal adoption of the agreement Although I thought we were tying it all up tonight, that evidently is not the case for some reason. So tonight will not be a formal request of that, yeah, for the maintenance agreement, that's right. So that is forthcoming, and you'll get the opportunity to consider that item at some point in the future.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Anybody have anything they'd like to bring up for tonight? Any questions, concerns? All right. Got 5 minutes.